We have all heard of the sad news of Her Majesty the Queen's passing. And while thinking back on her long reign while I have been alive, it got me thinking if she had ever experienced anything paranormal or ghostly in her long life. She lived in some of the most oldest and grandest structures in Europe and perhaps the world, buildings that have immense history. So going in the theme of this channel, I decided to catalogue some of the ghostly experiences the Queen has admitted to having, and some of the common and popular stories associated with a few of the castles and palaces she lived in. We start with Windsor Castle, which the Queen made her main residence in the last few years of her life, and is over 900 years old. Windsor Castle is believed to have around 25 ghosts that haunt its corridors. Tourists and staff have told of mysterious figures lurking in the shadows and unexplained noises which have given them the jitters in the corridors of the castle. When they were little girls, the Queen and her late sister, Princess Margaret, both admitted to seeing Elizabeth I, who died in 1603 while visiting the castle's library together. They had apparently seen the apparition pacing around the library's room. While the Queen did not go into further detail about her experience, others who have seen this spirit have stated it is typically spotted in the castle's library and is believed to pace around the room in heels, and as such, her footsteps are said to be heard before she appears. Another sighting that has been seen multiple times by both the Queen and her husband, the Duke of Edinburgh, is that of the Queen's mother, who died in 2002 at 101 years old. What the Queen and her husband actually saw or experienced remains a mystery though. Next, we move on to Sandringham House in Norfolk, where the Queen spent most of her winters, and where the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge, Prince William and Kate, now live. Some former staff members reported that they refused to work in the room where it is thought that the Queen's father, King George VI, took his last breath. They claimed that the room had an oppressive or disturbing atmosphere. The Queen, her mother, and the Queen's lady-in-waiting held a service with a pastor in an effort to bring the room tranquility, which apparently worked. Next we have Buckingham Palace, which was the Queen's main residence for many years. Unfortunately, the Queen did not publicly share as having any experiences here, but there is a high chance she had experienced ghostly goings-on, as the palace is over 300 years old and has 775 rooms. One well-known and disturbing incident that took place here was a suicide by King Edward VII's secretary. During King Edward's reign from 1901 to 1910, his private secretary, Major John Gwynne, was involved in a scandal and divorced his wife. Unable to deal with the pressures and rumours that followed his decision, he shot himself in his office. Even today, the office isn't too popular with palace employees, as some have said there is an uneasy aura in that room, while others have claimed to have heard a gunshot coming from the office on several occasions. It is also interesting to note that where the palace stands today is also the site where a monastery once stood. One ghostly monk is believed to frequent the palace's rear terrace, cloaked in his brown hood. There have also been multiple reports of a chain rattling, as well as moaning on that terrace at night. There are many other castles and palaces where the Queen may have experienced unusual activity. Combined, there is literally hundreds of ghost stories surrounding these places. Who knows what sort of creepy experiences the Queen may have had. But what we do know is it was probably far more than the average person would ever experience in their lives.